in chairs towards the front rows. May I request people to please occupy seats in the front rows, please. On behalf of the Government of Andhra Pradesh, BCG Digital Ventures, CNBC TV 18 and the Idea Works, it is my privilege to welcome you all to this second edition of Technologies for Tomorrow. We started in 2017 with wholehearted support from the Chief Minister, Mr. Naidu, and the idea was to give a platform to top innovators in technology from different parts of the world and from across verticals to share their visions of our future with you. Last year we had 9 presenters. This year we have 6 top innovators sharing their views with us, which will be followed by a panel discussion themed Technology and Sustained Economic Progress. Unfortunately, because of the tight schedules that Davos always has, we have just about 1 hour and another about 30 to 40 odd minutes for lunch. So we will try and wrap this all up in 1 hour. And we will start proceedings with a 10-minute address, a keynote by the Chief Minister himself. Mr. Naidu, as you may have read in the little booklet that we have with you on every chair, is the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. And now in his 3rd term, he has built a stellar reputation as a technology evangelist. The kind of use of technology for governance and development that Andhra Pradesh has seen is not matched by too many places across our world. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. N. Chandrababu Naidu, the dynamic Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh.
Thank you. Distinguished invitees and friends, I am very happy to take part with you, especially innovations. Now innovations are changing the world. Already disruptive technologies have come. It is changing how we are going to live, and also so many dramatic changes are coming. We are in 4th Industrial Revolution. In 4th Industrial Revolution, it is only an imagination. You want to do anything, you are having a capacity to do it. How to do it? It is a matter of our creativity. So many creative brains are here. All global brains are here. As a head of a state, my concern is, globally we are all talking ease of doing business. We are competing. It is for entrepreneurs. I want to go one step ahead. Ease of living with happiness. For living, there are so many hurdles. If you go to particular bureaucrat, he won't give certificate. That is a big problem. If you go outside, there is a problem of traffic or so many things. Even in agriculture, in India, there is a problem of crisis. All these things, what I mean, what I analyze, if you can handle carefully, everything is possible to overcome. So I am very happy. What I have done for the last time, it is very near to my heart. I am working for so many years. I built one city, Cyberabad, in Hyderabad city. That is a knowledge economy today. I strongly believe future is for knowledge, not ancestral properties. If you are having knowledge, you can command, you can do wonders, you can contribute to the global community. Nowadays, innovation is having an advantage with information technology. Scaling is very easy. You want to do, you can replicate, you can do overnight globally, and you will get name, and also you will get money also. So in this background, I am very happy so many innovators are here. I want to listen to you. And at the same time, what we are doing in Andhra Pradesh, if you see, this is my vision. Our goal is very clear. Our state is a new state. By 2022, one among 3 states in the country. By 2029, the best, happiest state in the country. Not only economic index indicators, and also happiness as an index. By 2050, best preferred destination in the world to live happily and healthy. That is our concept. That is where we are working. If we go further for this, we have prepared 7 missions. We are going mission approach. One is, if you see here, 5 grids we are having. In this, primary sector and also social empowerment and also service sector, industry sector, knowledge and skill development. This is the future. That's why one mission approach we are taking, urban development, infrastructure. And at the same time, 5 grids, power grid, gas grid, road, water, fiber. Fiber, every home I want to connect, then knowledge will be available with them. Here we are going real-time governance. In India, we are having Aadhaar account. Now on the basis of that, we have prepared e-Pragati, family as a unit. We are integrating all data, planning at macro level, implementing at micro level. As a family level, we are working. For infrastructure, very cost effective, we are able to create AP fiber. You want to take cable underground, then naturally it is costing me 5,000 crores money. Then Indian currency. Then I have done, every home is connected with power. One fiber I have taken, I connected every home now. As on today in the world, biggest video conference is available in my state. That is around 1.5 lakh households we are connected. I am scaling now in a big way. Every month 5 lakhs. By year end, 10 million video conference facility will be available in my state. You want to talk 10 million families you can address from here or anywhere in the world. It is very cost effective. 15 Mbps and also video, internet, 500 channels, 3 telephones, Wi-Fi at the cost of 149 rupees. It is less than $2. That is the technology penetration we have taken up. Now, even real-time governance, we are going in a big way. I will explain later. Here, if you see here, real-time governance key elements. It is a fully functional and highly evolved ecosystem of technology and skill. Data input from surveillance systems, drones, biometrics, augmented technology, and virtual reality, machine learning technology, call center. We are integrating everything here. Most advanced technologies of international standards for governance. And also we are having 13 centers for 13 districts. So that decentralized, we are going in that direction. If you see here, Asia's biggest integrated control and command center. Analytics data to develop pragmatic strategies for departments and specialized teams. Real-time data and video conference and real-time decision making. This is the conference room and also control room and also strategy room and also annexi, so that more and more people will work there, and also district centers. If you go further, this is the golden data we have developed. Aadhaar is a big advantage for India with biometrics, either fingerprint, iris or facial recognition. That is the data we are having. So we have saturated 100% benefits. All beneficiaries are with Aadhaar account now. And also, we have, as I rightly mentioned, family profile, village profile, government benefits. We are going Praja Sadhikara survey. It is a family as a unit we are measuring. This golden data, if you see, nearly 4.34 crore men and women are in this People's Hub. Further, if you see People's Hub, data updates from village, that is the last mile, beneficiaries updates from departments at all levels. Finally, through Praja Sadhikara survey, it is People's Hub. This is the truth of data. It is almost all government will integrate and will do updation everything. If you go further, we are building land hub now. In India, we are having so many problems. Just like Aadhaar, 11 number digital code we are giving. We are naming Budhar. Just like Aadhaar, it is a unique code number. Every piece of land will have a Budhar, geotagging and everything, so that registration, all these things, cumbersome procedures I can remove. Somebody will sell, somebody will purchase, automatic mutation, everything documentation, it will be perfect system. Just like you cannot change men or human beings, you cannot change land boundaries also. You cannot manipulate also. That we are bringing. It is first of its kind. It is single truth of land and property we are bringing now. If you can go further, this is where comprehensive financial management system I am bringing. Total revenue receipts and also revenue expenditure of a unit or an individual with benefits, everything we are integrating. And also e-office we are going, e-cabinet we are doing, paperless office, even last mile we are connecting, seamless processing of files. That we have achieved. Biometric attendance everywhere, real time. We are using schools, colleges, everywhere we are using biometrics. AP Cloud, Microsoft Azure Hybrid Cloud we are introducing. We are making Andhra Pradesh as a cloud hub also. We are using all technologies in Andhra Pradesh. If you see some examples here, this is IoT, biometrics, this old woman is taking pension. If you go further, this is Internet of Things, making state as a cashless economy. Further, if you can see, this is where POS we are using in a big way, fair price shops, healthcare, fertilizer distribution, and also primary health, education, street lights are running on sensor based, and also pensions, Narega labor, you name anything. Everything is authenticated with Aadhaar account. If you can go further, how we are using devices, sensors and devices, groundwater. I can monitor real-time groundwater available in Andhra Pradesh. I can monitor rainfall real-time. I can monitor temperature real-time, wind flow real-time, air quality real-time, and also reservoir status real-time, so that you can plan accordingly basing on all this data. Even Internet of Things, if you see here, surveillance cameras we are doing in a big way, even wrong direction, detection immediately, no parking detection, even zone monitoring, even so many things I am watching, even street lights we can read, even greenery on the road we can read, potholes, even garbage on the road, even paper on the road, we can detect, we can tell to the concerned person immediately, there is a piece of paper or garbage, you have to clean it up. That is where we are going in that direction. We are going virtual classrooms. Around 6,000 classrooms we are planning. Already some of the classrooms are happening. Integrate with this, best teachers in the lab. They will also supplement. Then teacher will supplement at classroom. And also drones we are using in a big way. Even soil testing, even pesticide spraying, even so many things. Even canals, repair works, even maintenance of greenery. So many things we are using. Drones. Drones is we are having a corporation also. This is only the state which is having corporation for drones. We are attracting all manufacturers, all service providers in drones. Even locked house monitoring system we have introduced. Anybody will go out of home for a tour, then we will keep on camera at residence. He will register in the police station. Police station will monitor his home so that any thief will come. Within no time we will reach there. We are able to catch so many thieves now. There is no thefts in Andhra Pradesh now. It's single decision. We are having now body-worn camera. Every police who is on duty, he will have a body-worn camera. He will talk to the civilian. He will also talk. Any abusive language he won't use. And at the same time, civilian may misuse. He will be broken in a clear case. So everybody is under check with a discipline. So this is also we have done. So with all these things, if you see here, E-Pragati, this is the platform we are creating. Healthcare, performance, even citizen engagement, rural development, urban development, industry, primary sector, core E-Pragati, all these things, and also education, IT infra, productivity, safety, people's hub, land hub, everything we are bringing in one platform. Citizen to citizen, business to citizen, government to government, government to business, we are integrating in this platform. This is the first of its kind. I think total comprehensive product. Anybody has done better than this, I want to learn from them. That is where I am here, and also I am doing that. If you see here, this is real-time data is flowing. With all these things, management information system, real-time data, so that everybody has to fall in line. Even media feedback we are doing now. What is the media in social media, print media, electronic media, sentimental analysis, positive, negative, where I have to focus, everything we can do with this. And also if you see here, over a period of time, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name anything, we are using all Facebook. And also rooms we are using. This is real-time monitoring system. This is global and national benchmarking. We are having our programs. One is Sustainable Development Goals. Another is GVA, which is measuring all over the world. And Kutumba Vikasam family, we are doing that. Samaj Vikasam, key performance indicators. All these things we are benchmarking first nationally and then globally. Even we are having a very robust organization. This is grievance redressal system, people's first, 1100. If you telephone to 1100 any grievance, then that is their responsible to sort it out and communicate back. It is 365 degrees. There is no escape. Once your grievance is given, it is genuine. Then they have to redress it. Then finally, they have to communicate to the customer who has given complaint. If we satisfy, then we will close, or otherwise it will be open. At the satisfaction of the citizen, we are doing, it is working very well. We are having a facility 1.5 million calls a day. I can contact every day IVRS or telephones, nearly 1.5 lakh people, 15 lakh people. This is the call center. It is working even now. It is real time. They are working now. This is the call center we are having. Anywhere you can watch. Future is one government, one citizen. There are so many departments. How to provide best services. People's first, empowering citizens. Data-driven, invisible government, visible governance. Nowadays, visible government, invisible governance. There is a complicated. Now I want to simplify totally. It is a flat governance. It is real-time data updation, real-time decision making, real-time analysis. Either you are all here, creative ideas. You have to give me better ideas than this, what I am doing now. If you see recently, Google has brought one of the best product here. This is the F-SOX. free space optic communication link. It is only one equipment, 20 kilometers they can focus communication, that is gigabit capacity. This is the first time they are operating in Andhra Pradesh. You are going to witness now remote area in a forest area, you can see now. Then these are all the areas they are working. Afterwards you can talk to them also if necessary. For 1 minute you can connect. Meanwhile we'll connection is ready. Okay, you can connect, and then this is where now we are starting the second innovation meeting in Davos. Innovation Valley I am starting in Andhra Pradesh. Now our as on today, last time I spoke to you, then we have started AP Agri-Tech Summit 2017. Agriculture and allied activities. Even Microsoft, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they are also partners. Then Bill Gates addressed that seminar in Hyderabad, Visakhapatnam. Now all technologies just like this, they have come so many people all over the world. They have presented some of the technologies we have adopted, new technologies. We are going in a big way in agriculture revolution. Second one, on education we are going in a big way. Recently UNICEF and government of Andhra Pradesh has conducted pitch competition, and they have demonstrated so many technologies. We are adopting that. Swachh Andhra Pradesh, happy cities at Amaravati, and also empowerment, rural livelihood, skill and youth empowerment, health and happiness. These are all the various competitions, hackathons we want to conduct. Every month there will be one hackathon. There are innovations. Somebody is getting best innovation. We'll have a MOU. We will work with you and we will take forward. Andhra Pradesh is a big pilot for you, big model for you. You bring any innovative idea, any disruptive technology, I am with you, I can work with you. And also from there I can market your product not only India, globally. That is my commitment. I am very happy for that. Even if you see finally, this is where our objective is, Innovation Valley. This is in Andhra Pradesh. I want to innovate all startup companies, innovative companies, new ideas, creative ideas to Andhra Pradesh. You can demonstrate and then we can replicate, we can showcase in Davos year by year. We will compete with each other, all creative ideas. This is where hackathon, boot camps, tinkering labs, cohort-based incubation, gap identification, knowledge bank, pitch competitions, matchmaking. This is the order of the day we are working. So with all these things, what I wanted to impress upon you all, this is the SOX one. This is where if you see, it is a remote village now. Prasad? Okay, there is some problem. Okay. వినపడస్తా ఉంది, ఇంకా కొద్దిగా గట్టిగా మాట్లాడు. ఈజ్ టాకింగ్ ఇన్ తెలుగు. ఓకే, క్యారీ ఆన్. క్యారీ ఆన్. ఎక్కడున్నారో మాట్లాడండి మీరు. నౌ మ్యూట్ లో ఉన్నాం. అన్మ్యూట్. ఓకే ఓకే ఓకే. నౌ మేము కూడా అందరూ ఉన్నాం. ఆల్ ఇన్నోవేటర్స్ ఆర్ హియర్, గ్లోబల్ ఇన్నోవేటర్స్. Okay, carry on. This is remote village. You will explain. If you see, they are all tribal. This is all hill area. They are all never they have witnessed video conference or telephone, anything, even fiber or electricity. Entama. He is a collector of the district, Chaparai, by village name.
From nearest point of phone connectivity, sir. 75 families only live here, sir. There is a 9-kilometer trek into the forest which they have to do from the nearest road point, sir, to reach their home, sir. Honorable Chief Minister's inspiration 6 months ago, you directed us to bring telephone connectivity here, sir. And Honorable IT Minister has been continuously pursuing in this matter, sir. Today, we are, with your blessing, sir, we are proud to announce that we are able to do first video conference from this extremely remote area with the Honorable Chief Minister.
For others, mic. You mic. You can put it for them. For them. వాళ్ళకి వినపడాలి కదా. And mic.
Chief Minister and Alphabet Access Desktop Technology, sir. Sir, I have given instructions and communication to Huawei and Sterlite Technologies. They have also participated in a big way in helping us bring this kind of a connectivity to such a remote area, sir.
Problem.
Sir, if you were to give permission to us, Mallala Veera Bhupati Reddy Garu, who is a Konda Reddy tribal from Chaparai, would like to express his views to you, sir.
Only 1 minute.
Sir, can we make him speak, sir?
Yeah, please. ఒక నిమిషం. There is a time constraint.
నమస్కారం సార్.
నమస్కారమయ్య చెప్పయ్యా.
నమస్కారం సార్, నా పేరు పల్లాల వీరభూపతి రెడ్డి సార్. నా పేరు పల్లాల వీరభూపతి రెడ్డి సార్. నేను డిగ్రీ దాకా చదువుకున్నానండి. ఈ ఊర్లో నేను నా తండ్రి తాతల నుండి ముత్తాతల నుండి ఇక్కడ పెట్టారు, ఇక్కడే పుట్టారు, ఇక్కడే పెరిగారు సార్. నేను కూడా ఇక్కడే పుట్టాను సార్. ఈరోజు మా గ్రామం చాలా చిన్నది సార్, ఎందుకంటే రంపచోడవరం డివిజన్ లో రంపచోడవరం డివిజన్ లో వైరవరం మండలం చెప్పి కొడగని పంచాయతీలో మా గ్రామం ఒక చిన్న గ్రామం సార్, పాపరాయి సార్. మరి గతంలో చాలా ఇబ్బందులు పడి బతికాం సార్. గతంలో కంటే ఈ రోజుకు చాలా పరిణామం వచ్చిందండి. ఆ పరిణామం కారణమైన మీకు, మీ ప్రభుత్వానికి నా హృదయపూర్వక ధన్యవాదాలు సార్. ఎందుకంటే ఈ రోజు ఇన్ని స్పెషాలిటీస్ మాకి అందుబాటులో ఉన్నాయి అంటే మాకు చాలా గర్వంగా ఉంది సార్. చాలా గర్వపడుతున్నాను సార్. ఇది వరకు మాకు ఏది కూడా మాకు అందుబాటులో ఉండేది కాదు సార్. ఎందుకంటే నేను మాకు ఎవరు రావాలన్నా కూడా మాకు రోడ్డు సదుపాయం ఉండేది కాదు సార్, అందుబాటులో ఉండేది కాదు సార్. ఎందుకంటే చూడడానికి కూడా రోడ్డు ట్రావెలింగ్ ప్రాబ్లం అని చెప్పేసి అడగలు సార్.
These are all remote area. FSOCs we are using. They are witnessing first time. They are highly thrilled. Generally, they never spoke outside world. From their village, they are speaking now. Because of time constraint, I am not allowing more people. Otherwise, they want to talk very enthusiastic. It is a reality now. Every home, every household, we are connecting 15 Mbps. You can imagine now. If you connect every home will become knowledge hub. From there, we can operate. I am very happy now. Now I am leaving this floor to you, all innovators now. You have to guide me. Next time, better innovations again has to come. Meanwhile, every 1 month we will have an occasion in different subjects. If you can come, we will be very happy to participate in that hackathon. And finally, future is innovations, I don't have any doubt. And at the same time, we are going to change this world. For this, again and again, I am requesting one thing. We are in advanced stage. I want to take to the logical conclusion. And ultimately, with all our innovations, the way of living has to change, has to transform. Better living standards with happiness, better wealth, better comforts, everything for that matter. So there I need in agriculture, health, education, you name anything, even urban development, everywhere we need innovations. I am requesting all of you. Even sometimes I am hearing new innovations. When I hear all these things, I am also thrilled. We are in an inspiring time. Anything is possible. That is my belief. I leave the floor to you. And also, I wish all the best for all of us. Thank you. Thank you, Ananda.
Thank you very much, sir. No wonder in your leadership the people of Andhra Pradesh are living better and growing faster. So we now have, we're running very short on time, so we will now start with the presentations by the 6 innovators. And we will not have individual introductions. Please refer to the booklet that you have with you. They will come in the same order as they appear in the booklet. So the first presenter is Hussain Kazai, CEO and founder of Onfido.
Hello, good afternoon, Chief Minister, ladies and gentlemen. It is great to be here. As the world is moving online, more and more businesses need to verify that their customers are who they claim to be. But how can they do that when they don't see their customers face to face? That's the problem that we're here to solve. With just the government ID and a camera phone, we're able to verify anyone's identity. This is important because transactions have always played a core and central role in human life. If we rewind to the beginning of the human race, in the Stone Age, bartering worked and was secure, but it only scaled to about 150 people. We then started in the trade age, where we trusted in currencies to overcome this limitation. And that helped the Silk Road and trade between villages and nations, but that too reached a limitation. It was limited by where you could physically travel. More recently, we had the web age, which brought transactions online and scaled it significantly. You could buy your favorite book online, you could start an eBay business at home. But as we went from an in-person to an online world, security became a problem. And at the same time, half the world's adult population who are under and unbanked don't have access to be able to transact online, so they were left excluded. So we need something new. We have entered the identity age, where your legal identity is increasingly becoming currency and is needed to access services. Anything from opening a bank account, making a payment, ordering prescription drugs, accessing healthcare, and so on. And instead of it taking hours or you being excluded, the process only takes 30 seconds. It's as easy as taking a photo of your government ID using your phone, such as your Aadhaar cards, and a short recording of your face. The precursor to financial inclusion is identity inclusion. And the technology now exists to be able to verify anyone anywhere in the world. A 1% increase in financial inclusion can lead to a 3.6% increase in GDP. This means access to remittance, to microfinance, and a whole host of other services that we now take for granted. At the same time, because we're using machine learning in order to verify documents, our technology is becoming more sophisticated, and we're able to reduce identity fraud and catch money launderers. 2 to 5% of the world GDP is laundered money, which is used for payments on anything from human trafficking, drug trafficking, terrorist financing. And as we carry out more checks and the models become more sophisticated, we're able to detect fakes that not only will cheat the human eye, but also rule-based algorithms. And as for the 0.01% of the very sophisticated fakes that miss and cheat our system, the more checks that we carry out, the more we're able to catch even these more sophisticated fakes. We started 5 years ago and now power over 1,500 organizations across the world. Anything from car sharing to payments to banking. The use cases are endless and growing. Soon we will be powering self-check-ins at hotels, identity on the blockchain, and eventually online voting. We have a world-class team of 150 to make it happen. And our purpose is to bring the world's legal identities safely online so that everyone can easily access services in this new digital age. Thank you for listening.
Greetings, everybody. Thank you for inviting me here. And Chief Minister, that was an amazing presentation. You should come run for the governor of California, where I live. We need help. So what I want to talk to you about is what I believe is the next paradigm shift in science and medicine. And that is the microbiome. So if you're feeling good and healthy, I want you to thank the 100 trillion bacteria that are inside of your gut, keeping you alive right now. And the goal here is to figure out how that's happening and turn that into medicine so we can actually live longer. I've been at 2 conferences here today in Davos, not today, this week in Davos, that talk about living to 100 years. If we're going to achieve that, we're going to have to understand how these bacteria are actually keeping us alive. So like all technologies, you need to solve a problem first, otherwise you have a nice academic science project. So there's a lot of diseases that are known in the world. There's going to be more developed. Less than 25% have effective treatments, and even those have a lot of side effects. Pharmaceutical companies are increasingly spending more and more money, but they're not making more and more drugs. There's a clear disparity there. And of the 25,000 genes that are in our bodies, only a few thousand are targeted as drugs. There's a whole other ecosystem inside of us of bacteria where there are many more genes to go for to understand how to keep yourself healthy. So if you look at the paradigm shifts in science and medicine, in the 1800s, all pharmaceuticals came from chemistry, either from extracted from plants or from wood, or in some cases there was some fermentation. Then when oil was discovered, I think in about 1886, chemistry came to play, and you could replace a lot of the chemicals with chemistry very cheaply. And then in Banting and Best in about the 1920s discovered insulin, extracted from bovine pancreas or porcine pancreas to keep people alive who were diabetics. In about 1980, recombinant DNA changed the world. And I was lucky enough to be involved with the recombinant DNA era in the 80s at a company called Genentech, where you can then clone and express a gene. And so insulin was one of the first ones made. So you no longer need an animal to make insulin. You could just make it by fermentation. Today, 6 out of the top 10 pharmaceuticals are made by recombinant DNA. You can engineer a cell today to make any chemical you want that you can make from petroleum. It clearly has changed the entire world. And when you hear about CRISPR technologies, that's another form of recombinant DNA. The next paradigm shift is understanding how the 100 trillion bacteria in your gut are keeping you alive. So as I said, you have about 25,000 genes in you. There's about 10 million of the genes inside of you. The bacteria in us, which we evolved with, they were here first. They've been here for 3.5 billion years. And they have figured out how to keep us healthy. And in exchange, we feed them. They just exist because we give them carbon and nitrogen sources. But they're doing things every day as you're sitting here, like controlling your immune system. They're healing your epithelial cell layer. They're modifying your central nervous system, your respiratory, your blood pressure. There's almost no biological effect today that's not mediated by the bacteria in your gut. Now, they can also cause disease or exacerbate disease. In that case, you want to shut them down. But for the most part, you want to figure out how they're keeping you healthy and harness that for medicines. So the microbiome companies in this space attack this in different ways. Some try and take all the bacteria of a healthy person and put into a sick person. That's been shown to have some curative properties. Some will take just mixtures of bacteria. Some will isolate individual bacteria, so think of this as a therapeutic probiotic. My own company, what we do is we identify individual bacteria that correlates with a healthy state, and then we isolate the proteins or peptides that it makes, and we make this as a drug. The beauty of this is there's a very defined regulatory path on how to get this approved. If you're giving someone else's bacteria, it's a little more complicated. It's going to take a little bit more time in terms of understanding the safety. But understanding the molecules that bacteria make, proteins, peptides, and metabolites, will really transform the way we think about science and medicine. My own company today has identified more than 30 molecules from these bacteria, which in one case is going into a clinical trial for liver disease, NASH, inflammatory bowel disease, and we have a whole bunch in preclinical for immuno-oncology, autism, and diabetes. It's really an amazing technology that's going to change the world. Thank you.
That looks like me. Okay, I try to be flexible. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for having me here today. So my name is Andreas. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Konox. At Konox, we are building a full-stack solution for predictive maintenance for railway systems to unlock a new level of asset performance and predict failures to reduce downtimes. So the rail industry is one of the hidden success stories, especially in India. So more than 200 million people travel by train day by day, and the market is growing within 8 billion on a yearly basis. It's actually 30 times safer to travel by train than traveling by car, and it just takes 20% of the CO2 emission, just 12% of the energy. So this all sounds very great, but why is the rail industry not completely winning worldwide today? So there are a number of reasons why the rail industry is currently struggling. So the capacity and the number of passengers are increasing year by year, but the infrastructure was never really built to handle such a large capacity, and most of the systems out there are outdated and more than 25 years already in the field. So the rail operators are mostly not able to really understand the downtimes of their systems. So what means that they have very high maintenance costs, low network capacity, and have to switch assets even if they're still healthy. So what we want to do is we want to automate manual inspections. So instead of working day by day in the field, you will have all data in real time in your system. And we want to increase the asset uptime and asset utilization. So we are doing this by a full stack system. So we're putting sensors in the field and enabling trains to arrive on time and uptime in the infrastructure. So, I mean, I'm very, very pleased to be here. So the company was founded in 2014. Since that time, we won the German Digital Prize, the German Mobility Prize, working with the German railways, now also the Swedish railways, and this year we are expanding in Asia and also in Europe. So, and hopefully next year we will have the opportunity to present maybe together our system in this railway infrastructure, providing and presenting the data in real time into your real-time government system. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, my name is Eugene Chung. I'm the founder and CEO of Penrose Studios. Penrose is a startup based in San Francisco, and we create technology as well as content for virtual and augmented reality. I'm going to first talk about our background. A lot of our team comes from both the creative side as well as the technological side, and this is part of the key magic that makes Penrose what it is. I think one of the key things of kind of having this sort of mix is that we're in the early phases of this industry, and in order to do that, we actually have to kind of tackle lots of parts of the value chain of the creation of VR and AR. I know deeply personally how that technological and analytical side can mix with creative, and that's because if I go back to my parents, my mother's a CPA or an accountant, and my father is an opera singer. So I've sort of lived with this basically most of my life. So let's first talk about creative and how that's come into play with our company. We have created some incredible works of storytelling for this new medium. And the very first piece that we created was called The Rose and I, and it was at Sundance in 2016. Our second piece was called Allumette, and it was the very first red carpet world premiere for a virtual reality film at the Tribeca Film Festival in 2016. So far the reactions to the work have been pretty good. We've been lucky enough that we've had some great reactions. Wired magazine called Allumette the very first VR film masterpiece, and BuzzFeed News called it the best argument for virtual reality. TechCrunch has likened us to the Pixar of VR, and USA Today and the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times. We have been very lucky that consumers and critics alike have had some incredible things to say about the work. Our latest piece called Arden's Wake was actually the next piece that we've created, and it allowed us to showcase some more of the technology that we used in the creation of our work. And basically we put it around the world at places like Cannes, the Raindance Film Festival, and actually at the Venice Film Festival not too long ago, it won the very first Lion for Best VR. And this is Mina, the main character in Arden's Wake, reacting to her historic win. So part of the magic, as I mentioned about, is about the technology and the combining of the creative and the tech. Our engineers and our artists sit right next to each other, and basically we create enterprise-level tools because the engineers and the product managers know what to create because the creatives give them feedback every single day. Our technology platform breaks down into three different areas. The first is native asset creation. The second is rendering and simulation. And the third is pipeline to bring it all together. These are kind of words on a page, so I'm going to show you some videos to describe how this works in action. This is Tyler, one of our developers, and what he's doing is he's using his hands in virtual reality to sculpt the town of Alumet in virtual reality directly. Alumet is this town that floats in the sky that is reminiscent of Venice. And what's incredible about it is that by using these tools that we've developed internally, we're able to actually just create directly in the virtual space. Now, if you had to think about what you'd have to do before, you'd have to go and create this in a sort of flat screen version, go put that into VR and hope that it was correct. Here, if there's anything that's wrong, you can kind of redo changes on the fly and keep going. And basically, at the end, you get this incredible town scape with this incredible sort of thing where every building and every cloud you see in the sky was actually laid out by hand in virtual reality using our internal tools and technology. Our final tool is a little tool called Maestro, and Maestro is this amazing social tool. If you think about virtual reality, it's very difficult to see what someone else is seeing. It's a very lonely experience generally. But with things like Maestro, what we do is we enable this social enterprise tool. Think of sort of Slack for virtual reality, where you're able to see things together. And it doesn't matter where you are. You could be in London with our team in San Francisco, and you could effectively create together in this virtual space. And actually, it has created an exponential increase of productivity gains and quality gains relative to what we've done before. So as you can see here, kind of one person coming in lonely, and then a second person coming in to be able to create with you. So I'll leave you with this one thought. Now, in the last 60 years, we as a species have had sort of 5 major computing platforms, starting with the mainframe in the 60s, all the way to the mobile computing platform of today. Now, every computing platform to date has generated around 10 times the number of users as a prior computing platform. And we think that augmented, virtual, and mixed reality are the next major computing platform after the mobile phone. And we therefore think this is going to be a giant opportunity. Our friends at Goldman Sachs seem to agree. They think that this could be anywhere from a $23 to $182 billion industry, which would make this larger than video games, the global video game market, larger than the US advertising market, and a lot of other markets that are out there. And we're excited to help develop for that exciting future. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Davos.
That looks like me. So this morning I was on a train to Davos, and I was talking to a fellow passenger on how the day was it a good day or not. And I grew up in India. A day with minus 15-degree temperature is good, but could be better, right? I mean, this is too cold. And she was very excited because there was a snowstorms recently, and she could ski. And the point I'm trying to make is that humans communicate in a very beautiful, complex, and weird way. Natural language cannot be put into tables. Natural language cannot be processed linearly. And so the artificial intelligence that has to be developed to handle natural language has to be different as well. We are also a San Francisco-based startup. I think we rule here. And we have an AI that uses natural language and artificial intelligence together to automate the various things that governments and enterprises have to do today in dealing with their constituents. So you know, you think about this whole digital automation space. There's so many words being floating around, and in AI particularly, deep learning is this algo that is actually showing fascinating results. It has failed miserably when it comes to natural language. Watson is a classic example, which is using similar technologies but with limited success. And the reason is, again, as I said, it's very different. It's very arcane. Plus, you know, 2 languages are different. And so I'm sure you'll agree that 2 districts in Andhra Pradesh speak different languages. And how do you make that happen? We have this technology already working in many, many enterprises. One of the most frequent use cases is natural language search. It is as if you ask somebody a question, they go out, they essentially read through all there is to find the answer to this and come back to you with that particular answer, not the document that contains the answer. And we have, for example, applied it a tech company case where they are answering the questions of their customers 6x better using a technology like this. So you talked about real-time governance. This takes milliseconds, or maybe a second. That's the latency we try to shoot for, versus somebody actually giving you the answer, reading through the document, which could take at least minutes, or if not days or weeks. And similarly, other use cases, synthesizing a lot of information that's out there. Like this, we are living in an information overload these days. Synthesizing all that to a one-page summary or a KYC profile or intelligence profile, whatever it is, and kind of filling that template automatically. Extracting all the document and all the natural information that is floating around here, extracting the real nuggets of knowledge in there and putting them on the table. Those are some of the use cases. Redaction or classification of sensitive information is again a use case that's very popular with the US government for obvious reasons. This page really talks about how we have, sorry, it's a sales pitch, but how we have really made sure that this is an enterprise-ready technology. It configures to your needs, whatever your needs are. It configures to your language, because every language is going to be different. And it actually is a very secure technology so that your data is not going to go out of your firewall at all. I will close with this. 5,000 years ago, we developed Abacus, right? And not us, as in humans, right? And 5,000 years we developed Abacus, and since then we have gotten very good at counting and dealing with structured data that can be put in tables. But as in this forum, when we are thinking about technologies for tomorrow, we have to think about the way people naturally are. And hopefully this is just a start, it's just language, but it could be for any other structured data. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much. Hi everyone. I am thankful here, surrounded by snow, to be invited by India's sunrise state, Andhra Pradesh. And I'm also inspired by Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu to address a live stream, because our company is currently following the live stream of this presentation, and I would like to address our team. And not only by showing my own face, because they actually see my face quite a lot. I'm going to next. Can my presentation be put on? Well, I think we both are struggling with the same issues of connecting a live stream nowadays in 2018 at the World Economic Forum. I wanted to compliment you that 15 Mbps in remote homes everywhere in your state, that's really something promising indeed. There we are, so there I start. I represent Vizi. I co-founded Vizi and I'm CEO of Vizi. Vizi comes from physics and seeing, because that's what we do. We look with a physics perspective at the world around us. And when we look at the world around us, we have realized that we spend 90% of our time in buildings. And those same buildings are responsible for 40% of all electricity consumption. And we are fighting for a mission, which is a long-term mission, to reduce that amount of energy consumption, to make an energy-neutral built environment. But the theme of today is technology for tomorrow. And that is something, as a startup founder, I realized really early on, is that you need to develop and go to market as quickly as possible. And that's what we did. We investigated the market, and we realized that currently building owners, renters, investors already are installing automated blinds, tintable glass, air ventilation. At the same time, they want to maximize daylight for happiness, but they also want sustainable buildings. So already out there in the market, there is a very direct need for technology to make buildings more comfortable, so people get more happy and productive, but also to make buildings more sustainable, so that we can enjoy our planet for a longer time. And therefore, we have developed a product portfolio. Our power window is an electricity generating window which is fully transparent and can supply the electricity to all components in the facade that need electricity. Our smart window senses temperature, light, and communicates it to the internal building climate control systems, but also to communicating systems of municipalities and governments. We store our electricity in local energy storage, which we call our easy boxes, and we give access to actually be in contact with your own glass via our easy app. We enable people to have the glass think for them and make their life more comfortable. And we have developed a technology which can be distributed all over the world easily. Why? Because we have a very simple component which we can supply downstream and which we are actually already have been installing in both construction and renovate in the Netherlands. And we are now focusing on new projects. But what I dislike about this, and of course I'm happy with the customers that we have here, but what I dislike about this, it are always the fancy buildings adopting the most state-of-the-art technologies first. We, and when I say we, that's our team with 15 people out of which are 7 nationalities. We want to make smart offices, smart houses available to everyone. And therefore we have to go to scale quickly. We have to go to India's sunrise state quickly to reduce our production costs and give everyone the opportunity to enjoy a smart house and home. Thank you. I don't want to steal it, so I'll leave it right here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ferdinand. And thank you for your indulgence, ladies and gentlemen. We know we are running a little behind time. We'll just change the setting for the panel discussion, which will be a 20-minute thing. And I'll just hand over the floor to Shireen. Shireen Bhan is the managing editor of CNBC TV 18, our media partner for today. And she's also a World Economic Forum Young Global Leader. So while the stage is set for the panel discussion, it's over to Shireen.
Thank you very much, Amit. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you to all of our presenters here, including the Chief Minister, for giving us a sense of where things are headed, not just in 2018, but in the foreseeable future. At CNBC TV 18, I run a show called Young Turks. It is India's longest running show on startups. So we started tracking startups well before startups became sexy in India. So we're very happy to be here to partner with this event to talk about the technology disruptions that we're likely to see. I think the stage is set. May I request all of our panelists to start getting seated, sir? May I request you to join us?
Come.
Please go ahead, sir. Can we have our tech disruptors join us on stage as well, please? Jack, Raj. Yeah. Yeah. Excellent.
Thank you.
You.
That's for you.
Hi. All right. Mr. Naidu, if I could start by asking you, sir.
Yes.
We have 20 minutes, and I don't want to get the bells ringing again. So let me start by asking you, what is going to be the big focus area for you? You've believed in e-governance in your previous term as Chief Minister as well. But in addition to everything that you've already sort of articulated for us, the vision that you have using technology for the state, give me a sense of 2018. What is going to be the priority and the focus?
Now, 2018, we are reaching a stage. Now people are using so many devices, Alexa or Google, so many things. By doing all these things, any grievance of any citizen to government, if you can voice recognition or other authentication, we can solve all the problems.
Okay.
It may be pension, it may be ration, it may be power connectivity, anything for that matter. I am very happy so many people are here. I have to integrate everything. I am having all the data available. It is a wonderful time.
Specifically, what are you going to do to ensure that you create a robust ecosystem for technology disruptors to operate out of the state?
What I'm saying, ultimately you have to give cost effective and also most livable. When it happens, all these things, if you create wealth, if you can maintain sustainable development goals, then only it will happen. All these developments are going to add towards that. My stakeholders are my citizens.
Yeah.
I have to provide better, best living standards, no poverty, all power security or gas security, fiber security, all security I have to give him real time.
Okay, in real time. Jack, let me ask you about the opportunities that India throws up. In the light of the fact that we've got a government that believes that less cash is the way to go, we saw the demonetization exercise. We've seen digital payments rise significantly since then. So how do you sort of see the Indian context today, and what do you believe is the need of the hour now to ensure that this continues?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just start by saying, you know, certainly from where we sit, there's probably no single market in the world that represents more potential for broadening inclusion and expanding access to financial services through electronic payments than India. And we're excited to work with the government in India and Andhra Pradesh to unlock that, because you know, both governments are making all the right moves to put themselves in the lead in terms of the way that they're supporting and driving innovation. So, you know, from our perspective at Visa, you know, what is it going to take? I think it's going to take continued investment in public and private partnership to continue to drive more merchants, more consumers into the fold with respect to electronic payments. I mean, as you mentioned, demonetization was a great start. When demonetization occurred, penetration of electronic payments in India was at 7%.
Yeah.
It's at 50% globally. So we have a long way to go, but we've made a lot of progress in a very short space of time, supported by investments in innovation by companies like ours, but moreover by the Indian government itself.
You know, before I get to Raj, you spoke specifically about public-private partnerships and how that is nurturing this digital payments ecosystem. Specifically, what is it that you would like to see the government put on the table?
Well, it's from a payment standpoint, it's complicated. You have to get a lot of things right to really get the cash out of the system. You've got to get the consumer there. You've got to get the merchant there. You've got to get the financial sector there. We certainly can't do it on our own, and no single player in the payments ecosystem can do it on its own. So we turn to government as a strong partner to help lead the way and set the scene and set the tone and make the right investments. What the Chief Minister talked about earlier in terms of just being declarative that less cash and cashlessness is important is all by itself an important move that governments can make. But furthermore, active support in converting government itself to electronic payments acceptance. Which we've seen happen in Vizag and Andhra Pradesh, which we're really excited about.
So what kind of investments are you willing to make in India, given the big opportunity that you see?
Oh, we're very invested in India. I mean, at Visa, we've been in India for 30 years.
Yep.
And we have invested probably more in the last 2 years, both from a payment standpoint, but also just from a human capital standpoint, and expanding our footprint all over the country. And we're just going to continue to invest on both dimensions, because we feel there's just so much potential there.
Raj, where do you see potential? Where do you see the most opportunity that you can capitalize on?
You know, there's two areas we've invested in India in the past year in 2017. The first is around payments. So we're big believers in the fact that there is more space in the payments market, even with Paytm and other large players. We think that there's more innovation coming in the space. We invested in a great company in the space late last year, and we were lucky to get in before the demonetization happened. And the company's grown incredibly fast since then. The second space where we see a lot of opportunity is Indian entrepreneurs thinking more globally, specifically about enterprise software. We're invested in a company where the development and most of the engineers are in India. They have a front end in the US, which is important from a sales perspective, but we think this is a huge opportunity. And as India grows, I think India has the ability to adopt some of the Israeli model and some of the China model. And China, where it's been a lot about local consumers, and as Indian consumers pass, $10,000 in GDP per capita, we think that's very exciting. But on the other hand, it still will take time. So India thinking more globally and building businesses for outside of India, which is much more the Israel model, is one that we think will also work in India.
Okay, so a marriage of the Chinese and the Israeli model. If you're betting on payments and start software as a service at this point in time, in 2018, what's going to be the big idea that you would like to bet on?
The next frontier for us, for India, is digital health. We think healthcare in India will be transformed. younger people who have more discretionary income, who are more aware of their health and want better treatment options, and elderly people. And when you combine that with a large portion of people who are not near a primary care provider, we think enterprise software in digital health is the next frontier in India.
Okay, digital health, next frontier. Let me ask you about the opportunities that you see in India and what looks ripe at this point in time from a bet that you would like to make.
Sure. So, look, in general, AI, IoT and blockchain have been referred to here today a few times, and that won't surprise anybody. Listening to your presentation, I think about open, decentralized platforms as what should underpin some of that. You talked about a central hub. Well, it's going to be logically centralized, but physically decentralized and open to all parties, society, government, and business.
Yes.
Since you're talking about blockchain, and this is the big buzzword that everybody's sort of trying to understand and grapple with at this point in time, governments included. In India, and I think this is something that governments around the world are dealing with, how do you treat cryptocurrencies? What do you do with Bitcoin, for instance? And I think this is a conversation that currently is consuming the Indian government as well. It's not legal tender, but then do you regulate it? Do you allow it to happen? Where do you see the future for cryptocurrencies and for things like Bitcoin?
Sure, okay, that's a very good question. So let's talk about a Bitcoin as a first generation blockchain protocol. And it was designed, it's a fantastic invention. Designed to be a cryptocurrency, but today I think we could all agree that it's not necessarily being used as a prevalent medium of exchange. So it's more of a speculative instrument right now. But what underpins it, of course, is a fantastic invention which has proven consensus mechanisms, and it's also proven that we actually don't need a company in the domain of the intermediary. Now, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
If you think about the business models of the last 30 years, the last 3 decades, a majority of the most successful business models have been dominated by intermediaries. So you think about banking, exchanges, eBay, Facebook, Google, Amazon, Airbnb, Uber, they're all intermediaries. Blockchain eats intermediaries for breakfast. So it sounds like a very outlandish statement to say that the new economy darlings are now the most vulnerable organizations on the planet, but that's true. That's trillions of dollars of value that's migrating to decentralized systems where there will be no company. Now, in terms of currency, so in third generation protocols beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum, we'll see that cryptocurrencies become pegged to things like fiat currencies, or better still, baskets of fiat currencies. So we'll have inherent stability in those, and they'll become a medium of exchange, and tokens will be something else. They'll be important to the proper functioning of the system. So these things pull apart.
How critical will it be for central banks to support cryptocurrencies if we need them to work?
Well, they will. And in fact, a number of central banks already have been exploring for quite some time issuing crypto-based fiat, which of course would be a form of pegged. A couple of Western economy governments have been concerned about the demise of cash in their society.
Yes.
So we had another GFC or a worse event, then cash is often, or money is existing on bank-issued plastic. So if financial institutions cease to exist, there would be no money. So central banks are realizing that they need to have an alternative to cash, which is not dependent upon banks.
So given the fact that you see the activity in the Bitcoin, especially at this point in time, is largely speculative, do you believe that we're headed for a bust?
I think that I've been saying that Bitcoin is not the main game.
Yeah.
The main game is decentralized open platforms where entire industries are transformed. So we're working on a diamond platform at the moment, a ticketing platform, transportation. These are pan-industry platforms, and they account for far greater opportunity and value than basically Bitcoin is 3 or 4 columns on a spreadsheet, an address, a balance, access control script. Fantastic invention. We should all laud it. So we're standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yes.
But it is what it is. The game ahead of us is much larger and much more impactful for society, business, and government.
Okay, Mr. Naidu, you've heard from our three panelists here talking about some of the areas that they're interested in, the opportunities that they see in India. Digital health or payments specifically. What is it that you would like to see from them as they partner with you?
No, it is a fact now. Future is for digital currency. Even I was the chairperson for the digital currency in India after demonetization. We have discussed thoroughly. There is a lot of prospects. We have given recommendations also. In this, there are two aspects. Even physical currency should be costlier than digital currency.
Yeah.
Then automatically it will take off.
So you penalize the use of cash. Okay.
That is what I am saying.
Right.
Then automatically it will pick up. People are very smart. In India, everybody is having smartphone. Microsoft, by studying Indian conditions, now they have developed Kaizala app. This is one app where multiple messages, multiple data, multiple layers you can send simultaneously. That is how it has done.
Okay.
So we are very clear. Cell phone is enough for future.
Yes.
To do business anywhere in the world.
Well, penalizing cash would be music to your ears, Jack.
Not only there.
It sounds great.
No, not only from their part, not only service providers, even government. Government are the best beneficiaries out of it.
Whether it's here in Davos or the CEO surveys that have been done by PwC and Deloitte and so on and so forth, the cyber threat is emerging as one of the sort of big challenges that CEOs are having to deal with, and they're going to have that conversation at the top level. What do you see in 2018 around this area, and how do you see CEOs positioning themselves to face that challenge? Let me start by asking you.
I think that if we continue on this thread around open decentralized platforms, we had Bitcoin, and Ethereum's brought logic into the network. As we move into third generation protocols, what we're dealing with is a limitless decentralized world computer that anyone can use. And it'll be far more tamper-proof, robust and secure than any centralized system that you can develop today. Mm-hmm. And eventually people will, again, sounds like another outlandish statement, will decommission 80 to 90% of their internal IT infrastructure and make use of this world compute platform.
Wow.
It will come with security, administration, everything else decentralized and as part of the protocol and the system. So you won't have to solve those problems entirely.
And how soon do we get here?
Well, we'll see these next generation protocols emerge mid this year to second half of this year. This is the paradigm shift is about to be upon us. This false sense of security that we've been lulled into by
Are people
current
prepared
protocols.
for this paradigm shift that you're talking about?
Not at all, no. So there's huge opportunity there for those who are willing to get ahead of the curve.
Brad, just picking up on the paradigm shift that we just heard, what do you think is the thinking at this point in time? Because it's interesting, Deloitte put out a Future Ready report, and it's interesting to see that the Indian CEOs were the least optimistic of the benefits of embracing Industry 4.0, because they believe that it will impact jobs and it will then create social upheaval and so on and so forth. How do you see the impact of these new disruptive technologies on job creation, on emerging markets like India?
I think that it's a very important question for all of us to answer as technologists and investors, and I'd commend the Chief Minister. I think he's done a great job in terms of figuring out how to make technology and innovation much more inclusive. And for me, the most important thing government can do is exactly that, to figure out, to Jack's first point, which is how can government be a user of new types of technologies, and how can they make it more inclusive for people to be entrepreneurs and to leverage that kind of technology. I do think that as these disruptive technologies come, there's not a question of are they coming, it's how do we prepare for them.
Yeah.
And so, for Indian CEOs, I think that there's much more of an opportunity than there is a threat. And if you go way back, I'm old enough that I was an entrepreneur in the late 1990s, and when the whole Y2K era came, I think it was actually, in some ways, the launch of the Indian IT sector. Rather than looking at it as a threat, I think Indian entrepreneurs, especially in enterprise software, which is where a lot of this change will come, they should think about how they could really be the folks who are driving Industry 4.0 rather than letting it come to them.
Since we're talking about the inclusion agenda as well and using technology to be able to drive that, skills and reskilling. I mean, we keep talking about the demographic advantage and the demographic dividend that India enjoys. But if we're talking about Industry 4.0, we're talking about, the protocol, the third protocol that we're likely to move to sooner rather than later. What is it going to take from a government's perspective to try and reskill people? I mean, we have to think out of the box as far as education is concerned. Let me ask you, Raj, for your comments, and then I'll get the Chief Minister to address that as well.
I'm sure the Chief Minister will have much more interesting perspective on this. From a technology perspective, what we believe is that education in many countries is really out of date. There's a few countries like Germany where they have been leaders in terms of how to reskill people without having to send them back for a 4-year degree. It's much more of using apprenticeship programs, online learning. Reskilling people is very, very difficult. I think that's the first thing to start with. And most governments have not done it very well. And so understanding how to use technology to help people get reskilled is one of the key areas. But the question is, what are the areas that people should be getting skills in? Obviously we talk about areas like coding and areas like artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is not an easy area to reskill people. It's an area that takes a decade to become a PhD in artificial intelligence. Where we see a lot more opportunities in terms of reskilling people is in advanced robotics, in terms of how can machines and human beings work alongside of each other. And while machines will take away some of the jobs that we see, we think that there will be more jobs in terms of how do you maintain advanced robotics in areas like manufacturing. And those kind of maintenance jobs are ones that we think people can be reskilled to, and are the kind of jobs that government should be focusing on getting people reskilled in a shorter period of time.
Mr. Naidu, the jobs challenge, and how does a government try and address that? There's also a skills problem. We just talked about the disruptive impact of technology, and on account of that, according to the latest NASSCOM study, whether it's IT or manufacturing, 25% or so of the jobs that currently exist may not exist in the next 12 to 18 months. In that context, what does the government do?
Now, what I'm saying, existing jobs, there will be some threat. Always there will be new jobs. Technology with the disruptive technologies or technology will bring efficiency. By the way, governments will have more resources. We can spend all the resources again on development and also on employment creation. It is whenever you want to create wealth, you have to use technology. Technology is one side. It is no more option. It is a compulsion. You have to adapt, or otherwise you have to perish. There is no other way. For that, better way to move forward by using technology, as you rightly mentioned. Important subjects just like artificial intelligence, all these things, it is a technical subject. It will take some time.
But today, are you starting to incorporate that, for instance, as part of the
we are doing that.
system?
What we are doing that. Even now, blockchain technology, I am searching wherever there are courses. Recently, I started FinTech. These are all the new technologies. Originally, I used to promote IT. Now, latest technologies we are promoting now. Cyber security, all these things. What I wanted to impress upon everybody here, one is school education, college education, that is one, skill development, and also continuous learning lifelong. Lifelong learning is a must for future. If you learn something, I won't take a cell phone, you are outdated, you will have a problem. You have to learn how to operate cell phone.
Yes.
You need not be specialist. Today, if you see 10 years back or 20 years back, nobody has gone for management courses. Now, every course, management course is a must. Tomorrow, I am telling you, technology course is a must. That is how things are changing.
Well,
one has to adapt it.
We will need relevant skills. The question is what those skills need to be for the future.
Yes.
I think that's what people are grappling with. Jack, I think we're pretty much coming to the end of our time. So let me ask you, the big disruptive idea that you believe we'll see play out in 2018? The biggest risk that you foresee as well for 2018?
Wow, the biggest disruptive idea in general?
Yeah.
Or in payments?
Payments, since that's what you focus on.
Look, the blockchain stuff that we talked about earlier is it's an important consideration. It comes up all the time as a potential big disruptive element.
You're smiling.
In consumer payments. And we should all consider it and be thinking about it in the future. It's not here yet. So that's probably not a 2018. I don't necessarily foresee India or a lot of other countries jumping into fiat issuance of cryptocurrency. So in the here and the now, I think we can actually embrace the technologies that already exist. Perhaps they're no longer disruptive, but the mobile connectivity that exists that has been so under-leveraged so far, we can do so much more with to drive more efficiency and more inclusion into society. So that's what we're going to be concentrating on over the next year. We'll obviously be working on and thinking about back in our labs in the background how we leverage things like cryptocurrency and blockchain. And in terms of risk, I think the risk is in action. I mean that is the big. I don't think there are a lot of really significant risks that can get in the way of the kind of progress that I am talking about making, other than we ourselves not taking it upon ourselves to partner.
So what's the innovation mantra at Visa currently? Do you acquire to innovate, or how do you grapple with the innovation challenge?
We very much see ourselves as a technology platform. We are an infrastructure platform that invites the world to come and innovate on top of us. So we're constantly trying to make ourselves easy and accessible. We work with fintech companies, we work with large companies and small companies, and we create services that power payments throughout the world in that way. So that's very much our mantra and the approach that we take to innovation.
And where would India be in your pecking order of countries of strategic importance?
Well, it depends on which other countries are listening to the live stream. No, it's certainly in terms of potential for growth. It's right up there at top one or two.
Okay, great, Raj.
I would just say I think India has massive scale, and it's really at an inflection point. We're really excited to be investing in Indian tech entrepreneurs. I've been to Andhra Pradesh once a long time ago for a different kind of pilgrimage, and I'd love to go back. And
how soon are you making that visit?
We've invested in several states in India so far. We haven't yet in Andhra, but it's a phenomenal state and one that we hope to be more involved in the future.
The big risk that you're going to be watching out for in 2018?
I think the biggest risk, I think Jack's point is a good one on inaction. I think the other risk that I see is over-exuberance, that people believe that artificial intelligence, that blockchain, that these things are going to change the world tomorrow, and when they don't, and they, as expected, take a little bit longer, that we start to believe that they're not coming. And to me, that's the biggest risk.
Okay, that's the biggest risk. You've got two on that side, and you're in the other camp, if I could call it that. So it's coming, it's here. You're saying it's here.
Well, we're building it now. So, I mean, I love it when incumbent intermediaries talk like that. It excites me. So, I think you said it all, really. You have to keep your eye on the ball here. It's we've been lulled in a false sense of security because our current infrastructure in the decentralized universe doesn't scale, doesn't perform at scale, and we can't adequately govern the assets that we deploy onto this infrastructure. But that changes with next generation protocols. Now, the platforms we're building are aligned with that timeline. We'll be releasing them mid to late this year, the first industry platforms that will scale. So we'll see what happens. In terms of risk, I think you've already said it. It's just basically not getting lulled into that false sense of security and not waiting.
There's no room for complacency.
Not at all. I think there's enormous room for opportunity. particularly in what you described here today. I think it's fantastic. And I
So
think
how soon are you
underpinning
going to be making your India pilgrimage?
I think I'd love to work with you on this. I think it increases participation in the global economy. That trillions of dollars of value I was talking about before is reapportioned across society, not just corporations. We've already established there's no company.
Yes.
So where does that value go? Well, it goes to people, goes to society.
Excellent. So let me end then by asking you, sir.
I'm very clear. All global players are here in different walks of life. We need all their support. Andhra Pradesh will be a pilot project. You can do all your demos there. I'm requesting
Experiment in Andhra Pradesh. That's exactly what you're trying to say, is it?
experiment in Andhra Pradesh and scale it globally. First you come to Andhra Pradesh and go for globally. We are available for you. All 6 companies, innovative companies, startup companies, I already instructed my people. They will be in touch with you. They are after you now. Now we have to make it reality. I will be very happy for that. And also all our friends here, new technologies, even blockchain, fintech, even tomorrow cyber security, so many angles. We have to work it out. We have to prepare global citizens to adopt all these technologies. So I am very happy. Everybody will join together. We will promote future technologies for benefit of the global citizens.
Well, we hope that that mandate that you've just articulated for us is in fact realized, and we see the 3 of them who've talked about the opportunities that India presents continue to incrementally invest in India and make their India pilgrimage as well. And Andhra Pradesh positioning itself as the incubator for interesting and disruptive experiments. So welcome to Andhra Pradesh and welcome to India, and thank you very much for joining us here on this very special panel discussion. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Then we are very keen to work
Thank you very
blockchain
much.
in a big way.
Yes, yes.
That's with you.
Yes, thank you.